Once upon a time, in a small village nestled at the foot of a great mountain in Kenya, there lived a young girl named Amina. She was beautiful, kind-hearted, and known for her wisdom beyond her years. She lived with her father, a humble farmer, and her mother, who was a healer in the village. Though life was simple, Amina's family was loved by all, and they had many friends in the village. However, there was one thing that troubled Amina: she could not find a husband. For many years, suitors came to ask for her hand in marriage, but each one was turned away by Amina. She could not bear the thought of marrying just anyone. Her heart longed for a partner who was kind, wise, and true of heart, someone who would treat her with respect, not merely for her beauty or status. In her solitude, Amina would often visit the forest to gather herbs with her mother or sit by the river, listening to the songs of the birds. On one of her trips, as she was walking through the tall grasses, she heard a strange sound. It wasn't the rustling of animals or the whisper of the wind. This sound was smooth and rhythmic, like a song. As she followed the sound, Amina came upon a magnificent creature, a snake, unlike any she had seen before. Its scales shimmered in the sunlight, glinting like gold. The snake was long and graceful, with eyes that sparkled like jewels. It was coiled around a large tree, singing a melody that seemed to echo in Amina's soul. "Who are you?" Amina asked, her voice trembling slightly, for the snake was both beautiful and strange. "I am Nashit," the snake replied in a voice that was both deep and soothing. "I have watched you for many years, Amina. You are a girl of great wisdom, and I have come to ask for your heart." Amina was taken aback. "You want my heart?" The snake nodded. "Yes. I am not like other creatures of this world. I am not like men, who seek your beauty and wealth. I seek a heart that is pure, a spirit that is kind. And I have watched yours for a long time. It is you who has the heart I desire." Amina felt a strange connection with Nashit, but she was also confused. "But you are a snake," she said. "How could I marry you?" Nashit smiled gently, a twinkle in his eyes. "You are not the first to question this. But remember, Amina, it is not the form of a being that matters, it is the soul. I may wear the form of a snake, but inside I am as human as any man." Amina was hesitant but intrigued. "What do you ask of me, Nashit?" "I ask that you marry me," Nashit said. "But first, you must prove your faith in your heart. You must trust me without fear and without doubt." Amina was silent for a long moment. She thought of the many suitors who had come to her, each seeking something different from her: beauty, land, dowries, and status. But none had touched her heart as Nashit did, though his form was strange and unsettling. After much thought, Amina spoke. "I will marry you, Nashit," she said softly. "But only if you can prove your words." The snake slithered closer, wrapping itself around her feet in a gesture of respect. "I will prove myself, Amina. I will show you the depth of my heart." And so it was that Amina agreed to marry Nashit, though she knew that this decision would be met with shock and disbelief by the villagers. The day came when Amina returned to the village and told her family of her decision. Her father was outraged, and her mother was filled with concern. "Amina, my daughter," her father said, "you are a wise and beautiful girl. Why would you marry a creature like that? It is unnatural. Think of what others will say." But Amina was resolute. "Father, I love Nashit. He is kind, gentle, and wise. He has shown me that love is not bound by appearances." Her mother, though troubled, took her daughter's hands in hers. Remember, Amina, that a promise made is a promise kept. But I fear you may be entering a world that you do not fully understand. The village was in an uproar when they heard the news. Many came to speak to Amina, urging her to reconsider. Some said that Nashit was a demon in disguise, while others feared that he would harm her. But Amina, with a heart full of trust and love, refused to listen to the gossip. The wedding day arrived, and Nashit appeared before the villagers. His form was still that of a serpent, but as the ceremony began, something miraculous happened. The air shimmered, and before the eyes of all, Nashit began to change. Slowly, his body grew legs, and his head transformed into that of a handsome young man. The villagers gasped as they saw the snake's true form, a prince, cursed to live as a serpent until his true love would come to him. Amina, who had already known Nashit's true nature, smiled with joy. Her heart was unshaken. The two were married that day, and the villagers were astonished by the transformation they had witnessed. Amina and Nashit's love was proof that appearances could be deceiving and that true love came from the heart, not the form. As Amina and Nashit settled into their new life together, they faced many challenges. The village elders, who had once doubted their union, now turned their eyes on them with suspicion. Some believed that Nashit's transformation was a trick, and that he was still a snake at heart. Others, however, saw the true love between the couple and began to respect them. One day, a terrible drought struck the land. Crops failed, and the river began to dry up. The villagers, desperate for water, turned to Nashit, knowing that he had magical powers that could help them. He agreed to help, but there was a condition. Amina must lead the way into the forbidden forest, where a sacred spring lay hidden. It was a perilous journey, but Amina did not hesitate. She trusted her husband and followed him into the forest. Together, they navigated the dangers of the forest, wild animals, poisonous plants, and other dangers, until they reached the spring. There, Nashit performed a sacred ritual, and the water began to flow again, bringing life back to the land. The villagers, seeing Nashit's sacrifice and Amina's bravery, finally understood that true love was not bound by form or fear. The drought was ended, and the couple became beloved leaders in their village. Years passed, and Amina and Nashit grew old together. They had children, who inherited their wisdom and strength. The village flourished under their guidance, and the story of the girl who married a snake became a legend, told from one generation to the next. Amina's love for Nashit never wavered, and even in her old age, she would sit by the fire and tell the children the story of how she married the man who had once been a snake. She would say, "True love is not about what the world sees. It is about what you feel in your heart. You must trust it, and never let fear guide you." And so, the legend of Amina and Nashit lived on, reminding everyone that love knows no boundaries, whether in the form of a man, a snake, or anything in between.